It's time to delve back into the realm of the Olympians, and today we will focus on the Queen of Olympus herself, Hera. As one of the original 6 Olympians, Hera was born to the Titans Cronus and Rhea. Her dominion revolved around 4 main areas: women, childbirth, family, and, ironically, marriage. It is intriguing that the goddess of marriage would spend a significant portion of her time seeking revenge against her husband's many lovers and illegitimate children. However, as you will soon discover, jealousy and a thirst for vengeance were defining characteristics of Hera. Despite the challenges of being married to Zeus, Hera's marriage also meant that she ruled Olympus as the queen of the gods. She is often depicted as a beautiful woman wearing a crown, holding a lotus-tipped scepter, seated on her throne, and accompanied by her favorite sacred animals, the peacock, lion, hawk, and cuckoo bird. Compared to her sisters Demeter and Hestia, Hera plays a prominent role in Greek mythology, not just in terms of her cult and worship, but also in the numerous stories she features in. One lesser-known fact about Hera is her deep disdain for large and bulky wallets. Fortunately for us, let's begin with the story of how Zeus and Hera became husband and wife, commonly known as the seduction of Hera. When Zeus initially proposed marriage, Hera declined his offer. However, as we know, persistence is key for Zeus. He cunningly utilized Hera's love and empathy for animals to his advantage. Zeus conjured up a ferocious storm and transformed himself into a helpless cuckoo bird. When Hera discovered the frightened bird, she embraced and nurtured it, unknowingly harboring Zeus in his avian disguise. Zeus then revealed his true form and disclosed that this elaborate plan was designed to win her hand in marriage. For reasons unknown, this scheme succeeded, and the first wedding among the Olympians took place. The wedding itself was a grand and prestigious event, with lavish gifts bestowed upon Hera from all corners of the land. Her grandmother Gaia gifted her an entire garden filled with golden apples, tended by the Hesperides and guarded by the serpent Ladin. Many Greek islands and states claim to be the location of this momentous occasion, as hosting such an esteemed event was believed to bring good fortune. It became a tradition for the native people of these lands to commemorate this day each year with a sacrificial ritual. As is customary with most deities, there is always intrigue surrounding their offspring, and Hera had numerous children. Zeus fathered most of them, although there were a few peculiar exceptions. Among her well-known children is Ares, the hot-headed god of war. Ares was often accompanied by Enio, a goddess of war who stood by his side whenever a city was sacked or destroyed. According to Homer, Eris and Enio were closely related, if not the same entity. However, Hesiod disagreed and believed that Eris was the daughter of Nyx. Another peculiar case is Hephaestus, who fell into the category of oddities. Envious of Zeus giving birth to Athena without her, Hera attempted to do the same. Unfortunately, Hephaestus did not possess the same flawless beauty as Athena, leading Hera to be repulsed by his deformities. Consequently, poor baby Hephaestus was cast off Mount Olympus and left to fend for himself. There are accounts suggesting a similar fate may have befallen the goddess of youth, commonly known as the daughter of Hera and Zeus. In some rare versions, she was born after Hera consumed a magical piece of lettuce. Additionally, other noteworthy children include Aletheia, the goddess of childbirth, and Eleutheria, the personification of liberty. One of the earliest stories involving Hera that comes to mind is found in the Argonautica, the tale of Jason and the Argonauts. In this story, Hera appears to Jason in disguise, setting in motion a chain of events that would eventually lead to Jason's quest for the Golden Fleece and his attempt to reclaim his kingdom. However, Hera's motivation in this narrative extends beyond assisting Jason out of benevolence. It is primarily driven by revenge and the pursuit of justice against King Peleus, who had committed a murder within one of Hera's temples. Knowing that Jason and Peleus were destined to cross paths, Hera accelerated this encounter and convinced Jason and Medea to eliminate the king's standing in their way. Many of Hera's well-known stories revolve around Greek mythology's most iconic hero, Heracles, whose name ironically means glory of Hera. Despite his name, Hera held a deep resentment toward Heracles, which was more a result of her disdain for Zeus than any personal grievance against Heracles himself. When Zeus announced Alcmene's pregnancy and proclaimed that a child of Zeus would be born who would rule over all those around him, Hera swore an oath to thwart this claim. Thus, her animosity toward Heracles began. On the day of Heracles' birth, Hera visited Sthenelus, the son of Perseus, whose wife was due to give birth in 2 months. As the goddess of childbirth, Hera expedited the birth, ensuring that Zeus's oath would be fulfilled and the prophecy would pertain to Eurystheus, the great-grandson of Zeus, instead of Heracles. When Heracles was still an infant, Hera sent 2 venomous snakes into his crib to kill him. However, to her surprise, Heracles fearlessly strangled the snakes, emerging unscathed. As Heracles grew older and established his own family, Hera drove him to madness, leading him to unknowingly murder his loved ones. To atone for his deeds, Heracles was tasked with completing his famous labors, cunningly chosen by Hera and King Eurystheus. These labors were meant to be Heracles' undoing, but ultimately, they were unsuccessful, and Heracles eventually ascended to Olympus, becoming a permanent resident. In a twist of fate, one could say that Heracles had the last laugh. Hera also played a significant role in the events that led to the Trojan War. The story begins with the nymph Thetis, better known as the mother of Achilles. Thetis was to marry King Peleus, a union advised by Zeus. All the gods and goddesses were invited to the wedding, except for Eris, the goddess of discord and strife. Furious at being denied entry, Eris brought a golden apple with the inscription to the fairest and threw it into the wedding ceremony. Athena, Aphrodite, and Hera each claimed the apple as their own, igniting a dispute over which of the 3 goddesses was the most beautiful. Unable to settle the matter, they sought the judgment of the Trojan prince Paris. The 3 goddesses appeared before Paris, disrobed, and asked him to judge their beauty. Paris, however, struggled to reach a decision, prompting the goddesses to resort to bribery. Athena offered him wisdom and fame, Hera promised him political power, and Aphrodite pledged to give him the most beautiful mortal woman, Helen of Troy, as his bride. These stories provide a glimpse into the multifaceted nature of Hera, showcasing her complex relationships, vengeful tendencies, and pivotal roles in various mythological events. Paris ultimately chose Aphrodite, and the woman promised to him was Helen of Troy, who happened to be already married to the king of Sparta. Needless to say, Athena and Hera were highly displeased with Paris's decision. His eventual abduction of Helen would trigger the Great Trojan War. While numerous small actions contributed to this war, it is fair to acknowledge that Athena, Hera, and Aphrodite all played significant roles. Now, let's delve into a segment I like to call Every Time Hera Caught Zeus with his hands in the cookie jar and then proceeded to blame said cookie jar. This refers to the many affairs of Zeus that Hera was well aware of. The story of Io falls into the peculiar category. In this tale, Hera was convinced she would catch Zeus in the act with a woman named Io. However, Zeus, aware of Hera's suspicion, transformed Io into a cow to conceal his new mistress. Hera, not falling for this trick, insisted that Zeus give her the cow as a gift. She then instructed the 100-eyed giant Argus to stand guard. Whenever Argus would fall asleep, half of his eyes would remain open, ensuring that no one could sneak past him. Zeus, reluctant to intervene personally to avoid arousing suspicion, enlisted Hermes to free Io on his behalf. Hermes managed to lull all 100 of Argus' eyes into a deep slumber before slaying him and setting Io free. As a tribute to Argus' service, Hera placed his eyes on her favorite animal, the peacock. The ancient Greeks also used this story to explain the eye pattern found on peacocks. When Hera discovered that Leto was pregnant with Artemis and Apollo, she took measures to prevent Leto from giving birth as long as she remained on the mainland. The goddess of childbirth, Eileithyia, who was Hera's own daughter, was forbidden from offering assistance. Poseidon guided Leto to the island of Delos, away from Hera's watchful eyes. The other deities distracted Hera with a beautiful necklace, buying enough time for Leto to escape and ensure the birth of both Artemis and Apollo. Hera's efforts to hinder the birth of Dionysus, another Olympian, were nearly successful. Upon learning that a woman named Semele was pregnant with Zeus's child, Hera disguised herself as Semele's nurse. She convinced Semele that unless Zeus revealed his true appearance, he did not truly love her. Semele, having Zeus swear an oath, insisted on seeing his true form. When Zeus complied, Semele burst into flames and died. Zeus then rescued the unborn child by sewing him into his own thigh. This child was, of course, Dionysus. Lastly, let's explore the puzzling case of Tiresias, a prophet and priest of Zeus. One day, Tiresias stumbled upon two snakes mating and, for some reason, decided to intervene by beating them with a stick. As a consequence, he was transformed into a woman and became a priestess of Hera. The next time Tiresias encountered mating snakes, she trampled over them, causing her to revert back into a man. During an argument between Zeus and Hera about who derived the most pleasure from sex, Tiresias found himself in the middle. Hera adamantly claimed it was men, while Zeus argued it was women. They used Tiresias as the arbiter since he had experienced it from both perspectives. Tiresias sided with Zeus, much to Hera's discontent. In response, she blinded Tiresias. Zeus, unable to reverse his wife's actions, compensated Tiresias with the gift of prophecy to make up for his loss of sight. Hera's portrayal is intriguingly complex for the goddess of marriage, family, childbirth, and women. One would anticipate a stable, caring, and forgiving nature from her. While this may be the case at times, there are numerous instances where she displays the opposite traits. With Athena, conflicting accounts from Greek and Roman poets can explain the variations, but the same cannot be said for Hera. One interesting yet unproven theory suggests that Hera might predate the Hellenistic period, aligning with a more matriarchal society in ancient Greece. As the shift toward a patriarchal society occurred, Hera's attempts to challenge Zeus's rule or authority were interpreted in a comical manner, leading to her exaggerated jealousy and the acceptance that Zeus would do as he pleased. However, most scholars reject this theory due to a lack of evidence. In my opinion, being married to Zeus is probably enough to drive anyone to insanity. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section.